Well. Welcome all dillies and dolls to the NFL recap week one. We've done it. We made it through 2021 season, COVID free. Knock on wood. We'll get it done. We'll get through this all. If not, we'll do it together. I do want to introduce my cohorts for this wonderful cast this evening. The one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Andy Martinez, A-Mart. Thanks for
What's up?
joining,
What's up?
man.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Thanks for having me.
oh no, absolutely, man. I want to kind of make sure we get on this. Week one, first one ever. I think we need to uh, make sure this one runs good, and that we don't piss anybody off, and maybe we can do week two as well. Sponsors pending, right?
That's right.
But ultimately, what we're just doing here, folks, is going run down the list of week one recap of the NFL games. Of course, we all know it started off with a championship or the previous year's champions, Tampa Bay Bucks, going against our America's team, Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, I'm not a fan, but Andy, you're definitely sporting your blue there. So tell me about it. Like, what'd you think about this game? The first game of the 2021 season.
Well, just real quick before that, just want to say, so glad football's back. All right.
Yeah.
See all those fans in the stands and everything. It's great. NFL, college is back, but of course we're focusing here on NFL and obviously the fantasy implications that go along with it, right? And um, looking forward to breaking all these games down a little bit and just kind of giving our perspective on it. But yeah, it kicked off with my Cowboys. They look sharp on offense. Dak came out of the gate. He looked sharp. He couldn't have looked any better, to be honest. I mean, he was accurate. He looked crisp. He knew what he wanted to do. Put every ball in the money. Tampa's defense didn't look like the number one defense in football. He kind of just went right through them. Even the one interception he threw was in the receiver's hands and he dropped it. So I was proud of him. I honestly feel like we weren't going to win that game in Tampa, defending champs in their home, right? It doesn't happen often, but they gave it their best shot. They had it. You can't give Brady, a minute to go to kick a field goal to win a game. You just can't. You know,
No,
even
man.
if you give him a PI call that should have been called at the end.
I knew you were going to drop that one in there. Oh, give me a
Yeah.
break. But hey, I got four words for you. Dak attack is back for sure. I'm very that he's the one guy that I am happy to see kind of get back in there. He had just more of a personal level. Like he had a big rut that he had to get through. Personal life, of course, is on the field, his injury. I'm definitely happy to see that guy do what he did against one of the toughest defenses in the NFL that they're projecting this year. But on the side of that, like I think that's what they had a good game plan, the Cowboys, and that was definitely to attack through the air. That was definitely air attack, air assault.
Yep.
But speaking of Zeke, you can see his stats here on the board. I mean, he only had 33 yards. Like that was a three yard per carry average. Like that's shitty.
It's not going to do it. Well, I think you're right. I think the game plan was to go out there and attack via the air because that's Dallas's strength, right? You've got three potential All-Pro receivers out there with Cooper, CD, and Gallup out there, and of course Zeke
Oh
and
yeah,
Pollard.
Gallup got hurt. Yeah.
Zeke and Pollard are weapons too, right? So to attack them through the air, their corners are not their weakest part of their defense, and they got hurt. Once those corners got hurt, they just kept going after him harder. They just kept picking on him. And Cooper, they couldn't stop him.
Oh my gosh.
13
Cooper.
catches. He just was lighting it up on them.
God, what did he do in fantasy? We'll always tie in some fantasy relevance to this too, because obviously we're in the same league as well. So we
Yep.
can definitely talk some smack back and forth. But
hmm
yeah, I don't know who had Cooper, but yeah, that was one of their strong points, man. He had a hell of a
Yep.
game.
38 fantasy points. That's a monster day for opening day.
Yeah. Whew, 13
That'll
receptions.
13 receptions is crazy. Yeah. Back to the running game real quick. You know, even the fact that Zeke didn't do much, Pollard didn't do much either. I mean, he had 4 yards of carry, but only ran the ball 3 yards. But looking at Tampa, you know, the Cowboys, I think everybody knew going into the season the Cowboys improved their defense a little bit, but not significantly, where Tampa pretty much went right through them as well. Brady had his way. Dallas didn't get a hand on Brady pretty much all night. He pretty much sat in the pocket and did his thing. A couple of times he had to scramble, but they still didn't get to him. So that's the reason. He threw 50 passes. He did throw 2 interceptions. Of course, neither one of them are his fault, really.
Yeah, the last
You know.
Hail Mary in the beginning of the half or the end of the half, yeah.
Yep.
Which almost
Fournette's
got returned
drop.
for a touchdown.
It did. I tell you what, that could have been a turning point of the game if
Yeah,
they
I
had
was shitting
that
bricks,
offensive lineman hustled back and tackled
yeah.
tackled the corner. But Antonio Brown, talking about a guy that really looked good
Ooh.
for an old veteran, Antonio Brown looked sharp out there.
And tell me something. Do you think he's going to prolong that magic though, Antonio Brown? Do you think he's going to be sticking around, especially for fantasy relevance?
I think he will this year. I think he seems to have that juice back. He looked really quick out there. I mean, the fact that Godwin blew it up too, and Dallas had no answer for Gronk. I mean, Gronk was just here. I'm
Yeah.
open. Throw it to me, Brady. I mean, no answer at all.
You can't do anything to that chemistry they have. Like they even said. I remember hearing in the commentators the Brady just kind of gave him a nod on the line and he knew exactly what that meant. And
Yep.
boom, right up the seam and scored that touchdown. Like that's
Yep.
unbelievable.
Yep.
That's,
So combined,
that's
both teams combined for 32 total rushes, which that's pretty low for for a teams combined. I think both teams realized what each other's teams' defenses were going on, which is their strength was against the run. Let's just air it out, and that's what happened. And it came out where, like I said, Dallas had a chance at the end. So I was proud of them. I thought they played really well overall. A couple of mistakes with the kicking game ended up hurting them. Tampa looked all over pretty sharp, except for they did turn the ball over, I think 3 times actually. I think somebody fumbled too.
Yeah, I'm looking to see if, on some fumbles.
Godwin
there was quite a few turnovers. There was 4 turnovers by the Tampa Bay, which
yeah,
I mean, that's,
Godwin and Ronald Jones fumbled. Yeah,
yeah. Godwin, I know he had a pretty good stat line, but I did notice he had quite a few drops too.
yes, he did. He dropped an easy touchdown.
Yeah,
That would have iced the game away in the fourth quarter. But overall, it was a fun way to start the year for sure. I mean, it was entertaining, and that's what you wanted to see. You felt like football's back. Let's get this season off and flying, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, this is a hell of a kickoff to the 2021 season. Absolutely right. Like I mean, I had the in a pick'em league, right? I had the Buccaneers to win as like top favorite, no doubt.
You were
And
sweating it, I bet, weren't you?
Sweating bullets, man. I was, whew. But yeah, no, we'll talk about too. After we do all the recaps, we can just briefly go over, the next week's games and what the probabilities are and maybe who we think is going to win or the likelihood if we have time. So
Yeah, we'll do that at the end for sure. Okay.
absolutely. So yeah, it's a good one in the books. All right.
All
So
right.
next up, we got the I guess we're going to stick a little bit in the NFC East with the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
What was this?
Battle of the Birds here.
Yeah,
Yep.
Battle of the Birds. And I'll tell you, I did pick the Atlanta Falcons to win. I did not expect what happened to happen. Like that was those birds. I think I got shat on by a bunch of birds right there.
We, my son is a big Falcons fan, and we talked about the Falcons preseason. He knew that they were just going to be. He said, "I expect them to be a bottom 3 team," and it pretty much played out just like we saw there. Matt Ryan. He looks good between the 20s. Can't put the ball in the end zone.
It's funny you mentioned that too, because it's always Julio's fault, right? Like Julio was known to not be the touchdown guy.
We'll talk about Julio when we get to his game in a little bit. I was going to talk about him a little bit, but you're right. But he's still got weapons. Pitts didn't do too much. Ridley didn't do too much. Eagles were fired up. You could see they were fired up to play this game. A new coach. I think he had their juices flowing. Hurts looked sharp. But I tell you, between me and you and I probably could have completed half the passes that Hurts did. I mean, the Falcons' defense, they're just ineffective. They haven't been good for a few years now. So,
well, maybe that was good for Hurts because man, I think he was getting a lot of slack in the offseason to see if he's even going to be able to drive this team and be the championship quarterback for him.
He came out looking sharp.
Yeah, 3 TDs, no interceptions. Yep. Yeah.
The Heisman Trophy winner caught a touchdown. He looked sharp. Devontae Smith. I mean, it was pretty much a butt whooping. Eagles pretty much did what they wanted. The Falcons just couldn't get anything going. Every time I was watching that game, it was 3 and out or it was third and long for the Falcons, and it was just they just couldn't get out of their own way. Pretty much the way the Falcons have been going for a while. Just to talk about the Falcons real quick, I said my son's a big fan. We were watching the draft, and we were so wishing that Justin Fields had been drafted by the Falcons, and because they said, at this point, what are they holding on to? They're not going to win anything with Matt Ryan. It's time. They could have just let him go, or just held on to him one more year, right? Let him kind of tutor Fields or something like that, and then move on from him. But they decided to give him that big contract, and now they're stuck with him. And now what do, right? They're stuck with a very mediocre team paying a high-priced salary to their quarterback who's not going to get him anywhere. So the Falcons are kind of stuck for the next couple of years. So
Well, it's funny. I didn't
not
really
a good
get a chance to
situation.
see too much of this game, but it was what was interesting. I'm looking at the stat line here for Matt Ryan, and 3 sacks for 28. I think I saw every one of those in the
Hmm.
5 minutes that I watched the game. It was like just sack after sack after sack, and at that point I knew, it was like, okay, this is obviously just a dogging right now. Like there's no way, like Atlanta just needs to throw in the towel and get out of there.
Yeah, it was bad. It was a home game for them.
Yeah,
That's what was bad.
yeah,
That's what was
yeah.
bad for them. They just had no juice. The Eagles look sharp coming out of the chute, and we'll see if they can continue it. They did this last year. I think they came out real hot, and then they just kind of fell apart. I think injuries got a big part of them. But
Yeah, there
anyway,
was
it
an
was not.
yeah. I guess the only injury right now with them is the Zach Ertz. Like, there was some speculation too, like he was going to get traded in the offseason,
Oh
and
yeah.
he
Yep.
wanted to stay on the team. And
Yep.
I was, as far as fantasy goes, I was all up on Dallas Goddard to try to pick him
Hmm.
up, but then everyone started uh, talking some hype train on Zach Ertz towards the end, that he was picking up steam in camp, and it's like, whoa, I got to pump the brakes there. And
Um,
I think
Ertz is
he's
old. That's what it
he is Ertz, and he hurts too. But
Yeah.
the Ertz and Hurts, man, that would have been a perfect. Oh, that's a perfect
Hurts and
combination.
Hurts.
But no, he apparently, 2 catches, 34 yards. He started off really strong. But that must have been where he got hurt, because then you got Goddard stepping in
Yeah.
the rest of the time. So fantasy guys, you got to pick up Goddard if you don't already, or maybe try to
Yep.
trade
If you
for
need a
him.
tight
But
end. Yep. We'll
but
see how
yeah,
he does. I will see how Hurts does. This is the first game against a weak defense. I'm not sold yet on the whole
true.
offense. We'll see how it goes. But they did what they had to do. They came out and dominated a game they should have. So
Yeah, I was impressed with the Eagles. Yes, we'll have to see, make it or break it. Like maybe the next game out, we'll have to look to see who they play.
yep.
Maybe it's a soft schedule at the start, but yeah, definitely is a good way to start for them. Falcons got some splaining to do.
Yeah.
Um, Calvin Ridley, man, I got you, boy. You got it. You got to make sure you catch them long bombs and big passes and air balls from Matt Ryan. Okay, Matty Ice dropping them bombs on them touchdowns. That's what I need. Um, but yeah, no, it's a good showing all around from the Eagles. I like to see how their rushing attack. Just to touch really quick on that. I was really kind of hesitant on how Miles Sanders was going to do this year, because he had quite a rough season last year,
Hmm.
and they brought in Kenny Gainwell there, and I think they both did really good. I think it's going to be a good compliment. I don't think there's going to be
Yeah.
any kind of a risk to anyone losing their job, or maybe I think they might have touched up on their O line a little bit to make them better, but um,
I
I'll be
think
interested to see how they do.
Hurts is going to take some of their fantasy value away. He's going to be very similar to Lamar Jackson. He's a very good runner. He's a big, strong guy. He's built like a linebacker, run over guys. He's fast enough. He's not super fast, but he's fast enough, and he's effective as a runner. So he's going to take away some of their touchdowns, some of their rushes, because he had 7 rushes. So that's going to happen about every game, just
Yeah,
like Lamar does. So
and hopefully, like they do in Baltimore, maybe it's going to open up some holes for the other running game, and maybe
probably
get some
so.
play action going for those receivers too. That'd be cool to see. Interesting to watch. Absolutely. All
All
right, so
right.
what's next up on the rack here?
We got the Steelers at Buffalo. Yeah, it was
Oh my
Steelers at
gosh.
Buffalo.
Steelers at Buffalo. Man, this was, I didn't know what to believe here. Like, yeah, I
I
know
didn't.
Steelers had a good defense, but I didn't think they were. I know that some people like were hurt in the offseason, and some
Hmm.
people went away in the offseason. I didn't think they were going to have a good enough defense to stop the Bills, but I don't know. Maybe Josh Allen just had a bad day.
No, they were in his face all day. He had no time. They rushed 4 men, and they got a lot of pressure on him. And that's what the Steelers do. The big pickup for the Steelers in the offseason was Melvin Ingram. He's an every
Oh,
down pass rusher, and with Watt on the other side. I mean, all day they were Allen had to step up, and when he did try to scramble, Pittsburgh always has those fast linebackers that you're not going to outrun them, and they were all over him trying to run the ball. They schemed against him really well. Diggs, he still had 9 catches, but nothing long. I mean, he averaged 7 yards a catch. That's what you want if you're a defense, right? Yeah, contain the number one receiver to 7 yards a catch. I'm good with that all
Yeah,
day
well,
long.
I'm not Andy because I have him in one of my leagues.
Well,
So,
I have Josh Allen, so I wasn't too happy either. He threw the ball 51 times, which is a ton.
oh, that is a lot.
Um,
And only one touchdown out of it. Man, they put a hurting on him
they
bad.
put a hurting on him. It was strange that speaking of Buffalo, so I have what's his face Moss, the running back for Buffalo, on one of my
Oh,
dynasty league team, and he was inactivated before the game. All season they had talked about, oh, it was going to be 50-50 or he's 40-40 between him and Singletary and mix in Breida every now and then. And they just said, nope, we're going to deactivate Moss. And so it was the Singletary show most of the game. They put in Breida a couple times, but Singletary had a decent day. He had
yeah.
averaged 6.5 yards a carry. That's pretty solid.
That's
That
shock
was just surprising. That was really
shock value
surprising.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah, you said you was he a healthy scratch, Zach
He was a
Moss?
healthy
Because
scratch.
well, we got another game we got to talk to you about that. We'll
Yeah.
get there, but
Yep.
yeah, let's start McKenzie, and let's run him one time and get -3 yards. That's really good
Well,
productive there.
you know what happened on that play. So McKenzie ran the opening kickoff back like 60 yards, and they had him in this first play of the game, I think, and ran him on that little end around right behind
Mm,
that. I guess running thinking he had juice going and he got caught and
got
nothing
tripped up.
happened. So he didn't try. They didn't try that again the rest of the game. So,
That's
um,
good.
but talking about running backs though was disappointing showing, and I was disappointed in Pittsburgh overall in their offense. You would have thought they would have learned last year that throwing the ball 85 times a game is not going to work. Every time they snapped the ball, it was a little bend, one step, throw, and I can't believe he only threw the ball 32 times. It looked like he threw it literally 55 times. Every time I looked at him, he was throwing the ball. But Najee had 16 carries, only 45 yards. 2.8 per attempt is pretty bad. But I don't think they're using him right. They're using him in the shotgun and running him as a little draw play. Well, that's not the way to use that guy. You got to use him as a bully. He's a big dude. He's a Derrick Henry kind of runner, where he needs to be. He's a huge dude, 6'3", 240. Dude, you got to run him like a beast.
There was
So
a
I don't like
lot
the
of
way they're
talk.
using him at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk about him being, the next bell cow, right? The next big
Yeah,
guy. But, I think whenever I was referring to the defense maybe losing some luster over the offseason, I think their offensive line
yeah,
definitely took the hit.
that's true.
And I think that's why I wasn't too keen on drafting Najee and myself, just because I didn't know what to expect from this. And granted, it's just one game, right? Week one. I'm
True.
sure he's going to pick it up, but that was the question mark. I didn't want to draft him in the first round for a question mark, which surprisingly he went first round in my Homer league. So
Well,
I
he's
was
the only
shocked
running
at
back
that.
they have. I mean, really. I mean, they have Snell,
Yeah,
but he's not a effective runner.
but I
So he
mean
is he is the man there. So
that's very true. I was just curious, like how to, looking over the stats, like you got Roethlisberger throwing for 188 yards and a touchdown,
I'm telling you,
and
everything was a 3 yard pass.
and then you got like a very piss poor running game.
Yeah, I don't. It was
Um,
defense. It was
I
their
was like, yeah, like
defense.
where do these 23 points come from?
They blocked a
But
punt for a
yeah,
touchdown.
okay,
Um,
I
eh,
missed that one, but I know Bozzy he hit what like 3 field goals too. So
yeah,
yeah, it
he
was
had
just
3 field
kicking
goals. That was
defense.
it. It
Man,
was it was an ugly performance offensively for both teams. It was a very defensive struggle for sure. It was not a pretty game to watch from what I could tell. So
I know. Buffalo is going to definitely turn around from this. I personally think that the whole Josh Allen, the miracle stuff that happened last year might be kind of overplayed at this point. They might have picked up the scheme, so we'll have to see how the rest of the season goes for them. See if they change it up.
mhm.
Um, we'll take a look to see who they play next week. I think they will turn it around, but they're projecting to have the Bills be one of the toughest. Maybe even making it to the Super Bowl this year. So
Yep.
we'll take a look to see if that happens.
We will see.
And Pittsburgh, you know, Mike Tomlin's a great coach, or whatever. But just like with the Falcons, they probably need to start looking for another quarterback too, because it ain't Mason Rudolph, old flathead.
No,
That,
Mason Rudolph or Josh Dobbs. Either one of those guys
yeah,
are gonna
old
do it.
Dobby.
So
Yeah, I know. If Big Ben goes down, they're
they're
up shit
hurting.
creek again. So, all
All
right,
right.
what we got next here? Oh man, this one, the
This
Vikings
was a
and Bengals.
this was a
Man,
fun game here.
I was excited about this one.
Yep.
Except, I mean, my boy Cook really didn't do too much on the ground.
Yep.
Uh,
They kind of bottled him up pretty good. He
3
looked like
yards
he was pretty. I
average.
mean, he looked like he was running hard. He just didn't have a lot of holes or
Yeah,
anything. So,
I tell you what, that
uh,
Cincinnati team, man, they're gonna be a team to beat
man,
this
they
year.
are young and hungry. You could see it in their defense and their off. They got some young defenders now. Um, Offense, they look sharp. I mean, Mixon looked
Whew,
ridiculous. He looked
Mixon.
like the young Mixon.
I know, man. I had him a couple years ago, and God, man, he ran the ball like 30 times a game, and
Yeah.
it was maybe it was garbage time, but that guy had no problem getting 20 points, and I
Mm-mm.
don't know how many he got this time. I fortunately don't have him, but 29 carries for 127 yards and a TD.
That's pretty solid.
That is
And
a
four
solid outing.
catches. Yeah. That's 22 points. Yeah.
Very good. Yeah,
Pretty
so there's not
pretty
really
good.
much to say there. I mean, I guess they definitely went in to protect Burrow from being out from his ACL last year,
Yep.
so they
He only threw
definitely
the
needed
ball
that.
27 times, which was the opposite of last year, where he was throwing the ball 50 times a game, and it was a matter of time before he got hurt last year. So, if they can protect him like that with, and then have him, use, Mixon to run the ball, run the play action, you'll get Chase or Higgins and Boyd deep. They'll be good to go because he's got weapons everywhere now. So
Yeah, obviously. I mean, he only threw the ball 27 times.
that's crazy.
He was very accurate.
Yep.
And if he wasn't accurate, his receivers were definitely bailing him out. His boy Jamar Chase, which I had him on my bench, but whatever. Going all ball, man. 5 for 101 and a touch.
Yeah, I have Tyler Boyd, and he didn't look his way too much, so I was a little disappointed there. So I figured he'll get his bites every now and then. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's gonna be a muddled
It
receiving
will
line
be.
there. There are a lot of weapons though. Just like there's a lot of teams this year that have a lot of wideouts and a lot of team
Yep.
options. The Bucks, the Cowboys,
Yep.
the Bengals, the Vikings.
Yep.
Apparently, like whoever
The
this
Car
Osborne
the
guy is.
Cardinals. Yeah, the KJ Osborne.
Yeah.
He's like number 17 or something like that. Is some odd number I'd never seen before. But Thielen, old man Thielen,
Oh
still coming
man,
through. Look at that.
I got a
He,
Thielen.
I gotta feel that guy doesn't
Boy,
stop. He just gets open and just makes things happen. He's a
it's those
good
yellow
receiver.
gloves, man. He like flashes them in people's face and makes them go blind and runs around them and catches balls or something. I don't know his secret. Got
I
some kind
mean,
of juju juice or something, but
he's just
uh,
got another gear. He's got game speed, is what he's got. The guys can't catch him. 2 touchdowns for him. So big start for him. Justin Jefferson he had 5 catches, but you would kind of expect more from him.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
especially his draft capital. Like,
exactly. I was kind of thought he was going a little high. I thought he might have a little bit of a sophomore slump. People are going to kind of rotate to him because they
yeah,
didn't expect that out of him the first half of the year last year, right? So
no,
he
and
even threw the ball once. Justin Jefferson
did he
did.
really? Oh yeah, he
Yeah,
did. I
completed
see
it.
that.
Yep. Yep.
11 yards. I bet he threw it to Thielen, right?
Probably so.
But yeah, no. What's funny is like now that I'm seeing this is it kind of reminds me of what happened a few years ago when Stephon Diggs was the big man in Minnesota, like the big guy catching
Hmm.
the deep balls,
Yep.
but Thielen was the productive guy.
And
Everyone,
Thielen is going to catch 8 balls a game and
yeah, yeah.
catch a touchdown a game. It felt like.
You take away the top receiver and Thielen's going to light it up. So
Yeah.
kudos to anyone who's got Thielen right now. As long as he can stay healthy, he'll be good for fantasy
He,
and for the real team. So,
he went really cheap in both my auction leagues. I think because he was injured last year.
yeah, oh
I
yeah,
think people were afraid of that, right? Thinking, okay, maybe time's caught up to him, kind of a thing. So
he's still hanging in
it was
there,
an interesting
Cousins.
game. This is a crazy game that went into overtime, um, and the Bengals came out on top. I mean, I think was it Minnesota had the lead, and I'm trying to remember what happened, but I think they thought they were going to win it, and then the kicker, they tried to ice the kicker, and the kicker got a free kickoff anyway. And Mike Zimmer, he was pissed. He's like, you can't do that. You can't get a free kick after they call timeout and everything. It says it's your fault, Zimmer. You called timeout when the ball was about to be snapped, right? That's not. Yeah, if you want to wait that long, that's on you. That's not their fault. They got a free kick away, and then he made the kick. So anyway, Zimmer was just he's one of those guys that kind of gets on my nerves every now and then. He's always whining about something, but he's a good guy. He whines a lot. He's been in the league a long time. Yep.
Yeah, and supposedly, he's trying to get his defense back to where it was a couple years ago too. But
yeah, they lost a lot of guys from a few years ago.
Yeah, what's good though is they did get Emerson Griffin back, so that's going to be a good staple for him at least.
Yep.
But Bengals, maybe they're just
I think they're going to take that next step. I think they're going to be this year's Browns, right? Where they're going to probably win. They could potentially win 8 games this year. They're not going to, go make the playoffs or anything, but enough to create some damage. And this young team is going to get better and better. So maybe next year or the year after, watch out. They're going to be the real deal. So
yeah, I can see it. It gets more defense in the draft. And
exactly. Yep.
Yeah. All right, so that game ended up. I don't even think we talked about the scores on the other one, but that's all right. This one, Bengals took it home in overtime, 27-24 against the Vikings.
Yep.
Good start to the season. Moving on. Now, I want to talk a second here first about 49ers. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Where are you? Like beat writers? Like who are those guys? Like are you getting money from freaking Shanahan? What is it? The Shanahanigans? Like not telling people who's where and depth chart and like Trey Sermon. I was like trying to sell my whole bank and everything to try to get him Trey Sermon, but
so they did the same thing with Moss, right? An hour before the game, I had on. I think I was at the grocery store, and I had on in my pocket. I had the Fantasy Live. And they said 11 a.m. They said, non-injured, inactive today, Zach Moss and Trey Sermon. And it was like, they're both head scratchers a little bit.
Did you were you about to cause a wreck when you heard that news?
No, I mean I was walking around the grocery store. I was just I don't have a Sermon anywhere, so I'm like it didn't bother me, but I was just surprised, right? I was like, really, I mean I thought. For sure. I mean, I knew Mostert was going to be the man. Everybody knew Mostert was supposed to be the man this year.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Obviously not now. So, unfortunately for him, he's one of those guys that's super talented, super fast.
Yeah, super fast.
He cannot stay on the field. He just gets injured.
His
Some guys just aren't
run
built
so much faster than his body; they just fall off his body.
They pretty much did. I don't think he's on bionic legs now. So after this time,
God. Yeah. Now
poor
if you
guy.
heard they did upgrade him to being out for the whole year. Now he's not just out for 8 weeks. So
he's out for the year.
God bless that boy, man. Mostert went from of course the jokes from fantasy world, right? Is from the must start to the most hurt.
Most hurt.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Man, but, all jokes aside, though, I mean, he puts in a lot of effort, and that guy's been fighting for his job for the past 3 years.
He has.
So, I mean,
between Tevin Coleman and Matt Breida and whoever else was there, he finally is going to be the bell cow and can't even make it through one quarter, unfortunately. So he got 2 carries and tore it. But that led to the young guy, Elijah Mitchell, coming in and tearing it up. Of course, they were playing against the Lions, who are a young team. They've lost a lot of defense, and they're trying to fill in gaps there and everything. So you kind of expected no matter who was going to run the ball. They're kind of a plug-and-play team. You heard Crocker today on our team call. Yeah. He's a 49ers homer, and he mentioned it. He said they're pretty much plug-and-play. Whoever they put in there with Shanahan, next man up usually kills it. So
well, that's the thing, right? So like looking at the waiver wire tomorrow morning, like. Are you going to go all in on Elijah Mitchell, or are you going to be like, oh, wait, I bet you Trey Sermon's going to be magically active next week? And
I'm sure Sermon's going to be there. Yeah.
Yeah. Get 20 carries himself, and, who knows? It's
we don't know what they've done in practice. We don't know what how they are in pass protection, those little things like that that we don't know. We know they're talented. You're not going to be in the NFL if you're not talented. If you're not fast, you don't make cuts. But I'll give you an
Andy,
example
but
of that.
we're not going to know because the beat writers don't tell us.
No, you're
No one
right.
tells us
But
anything.
but to my point is, like the Patriots, right? Everybody heard about all preseason Ramondre Stevenson, right?
Mm.
This guy's tearing it up in the preseason and everything. And we'll get to that game in a minute, but I'll talk more about him in a minute. But it's just you just don't know how these rookies adjust to the NFL if they can do it. So I'm not sure about Sermon yet. There might be a reason they held him out. So he
Yeah,
may not be ready for prime time yet. So
wait and
we'll see.
see.
We'll
But
see. But on the Lions side, we
well,
haven't even talked about the Lions.
we can't skip the performance that Debo Samuel put
Oh,
up.
that's right.
We
Debo
need to go
destroyed
back
it.
to that because
Debo is
oh
the
my
man.
God, I'm glad I picked him up, but I'm also not glad I put him on my bench as well. Him and Jamar Chase probably outscored my opponent this week. Luckily, I still made it, but boy, I'm excited to have him. I'm excited to see him play. Hopefully, he can stay healthy.
Does Brandon Ayuk still play for the 49ers? I don't
Who
know.
knows?
I mean, it was all the Debo show, and that was it.
Well, yeah,
And
that was the
Kittle. It
other
was
thing.
Kittle too. Yeah, Kittle
I
and
don't know what
Debo.
happened to him. Like I thought at first he was a healthy scratch. I mean,
He was out there. I saw him running around.
he had a zero. He put up a
Yep.
goose,
Yep.
and that's what helped me is because the guy that I played against had Ayuk playing,
Oh wow.
and I dumbass kept ODB in whenever. Yeah, we'll get to that one too. Like this week one is just
And nobody. That's the thing. Week one, nobody knows what's happening. So,
tell me about it. But
but that was
man,
a monster game for Debo for sure.
yeah, Kittle was mediocre. I mean, he did average stuff like four catches for 78 yards,
He
but
had one big
oh yeah,
catch.
the big 35 yarder, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of pushed his average up. But
But four
looking at
catches on five
Detroit,
targets.
you knew Goff was going to throw the ball a lot. Um, threw the ball 57 times just because they were behind early.
Yeah.
And Goff is talented, right? He's got an arm. He's accurate when he's got time, but when he put pressure on him, and that's what the 49ers were good at, right? Putting pressure on him. Good results usually don't happen. They got kind of lucky on a couple of plays. Hawkinson is a beast at tight end. I think everybody predicted that. He's the second tier of tight end kind of guy.
Got him. Yep.
Yep. Pretty much though, all their receivers are just guys. They don't have any receivers to speak of.
Just a couple of
Saint Brown,
guys.
Khalif Raymond. I mean, who? Tyrell Williams had 2 catches, so
Quantez Cephas. I mean,
yeah,
that's a cool
Cephas
name
had,
to say.
but that's it. They don't have any weapons outside, so it's going to be the Hawkinson and the running back show as far as catching the ball. I mean, look at that. Swift and Jamal Williams both had 8 catches each, both running backs. When have you ever heard that stat before?
But if you look at the score, I guess it was kind of spread out over the last 3 quarters. But to me, it kind of seemed like that was kind of garbage time mostly.
Well, they played 50-50 as far as Swift and Williams on their percentages of snaps, which is
Well, I'm also
nobody
talking about
wants to
like
see
golf
that.
stuff too, though.
What's that?
Golf's production, I think, was a lot of garbage time too.
Oh, it's a ton of garbage time. I mean, his quarterback rating only at 24 is it's terrible. So it's
Yeah.
not very good at all. You know what's funny is Matt Ryan's quarterback rating was actually worse. It was 17.
Mm.
So, but last thing I'll talk about real quick about talking about Goff is the 49ers quarterback situation. Lance went in there. What did he do? He threw one pass, threw a touchdown. Jimmy G looked pretty good out there. He looked like the old Jimmy G. He's accurate, puts the ball on the money. Usually doesn't make too many mistakes. Every now and then he'll make a bad throw, but I don't know. We'll see how this plays out. If the 49ers keep winning, they're going to keep playing Jimmy G. In my opinion, I don't think they're ready to put. I think they're going to continue to use Lance as kind of a gimmick guy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this kind of looks like a flashback of what was that, 2015, 2014 with Alex Smith. Jimmy G is the new Alex Smith, and Trey Lance is the guy that we,
Yep.
you know,
They're grooming him. Yeah. So
the,
we'll see.
Kaepernick. But
Yep.
but yeah, you know, he only had 3 rushes for 2 yards, which is exactly like, I mean, kind of what his claim to fame is, and he didn't really do much. But but no, one last thing though on Goff or the Detroit Lions, you know, I don't expect them to do much this year. But maybe they'll at least get some sort of upward momentum with the new coach in town, because God knows Patricia was
Oh, Patricia was
dog shit.
horrible.
Um, but the whole trade, right? Like what all they got for Matthew Stafford when there's really no big upgrade from Matthew Stafford to Goff or Goff to Matthew Stafford. But man, I think they made out in this. I expect them to kind of get some good draft value
Yeah,
the
I
next
agree with
couple
that. They got
years,
some
and
picks. Yep, I think they'll be the Rams window. We'll talk about the Rams in a little bit. Is now
yeah,
versus that Detroit is playing for the or was drafting for the future or playing for the future with that
yep.
trade. So
So they're
we'll see in a
looking
couple years. Yeah.
they're looking good. Stay healthy, my friends.
Yep.
All right, so this one was also another very
This
fun.
this was one of two shockers of the day for me.
Oh man, not
I
me.
did not expect this.
See, not so much of Cliff Kingsbury's coaching ability, but just they've got so much talent on the Cardinals, and it's just good. It's finally good to see them put it all together on the field.
No, I agree. I just did
Kyler
not
Murray.
expect Tennessee at home to just get. I mean, they I
Oh,
was
they got manhandled.
they just got manhandled. They could not stop anybody. They couldn't stop any of the passing. Kyler was just running circles around them, literally. So it was not
Kyler.
very good defense, very good offense by Arizona. Um,
Yeah, I mean
there
it's
was,
it was a mediocre performance by all of the receiving. Just the fact that like as far as when you're looking at targets and receptions and yardage,
hmm hmm
but the fact they all scored touchdowns, like and
Yep,
he spread the ball around. Like I don't know about you, but Christian Kirk. I mean, I'm not really excited to pick him up on
he
the
looked
waiver wire.
sharp. He looked sharp out
He
there.
did, yeah, 20 points in the PPR
Yeah,
league, but
he made
I don't think
one
it's gonna
really good
last.
catch out there over his shoulder. That was really nice.
Yep, I saw that. They dropped a dime in there.
Yeah, but
Um,
Kyler was the story in this
ah
game.
man, Kyler. Yeah, I wish I had some shares of him this year, man. I knew he
Yeah,
was
I
gonna be
don't
something
either.
special.
Me too, because he's something else.
He reminds me of the next like Patty Mahomes, that's what I think about Kyler Murray, which kind of, coming from Texas Tech myself. I mean, I know Kingsbury is really, really prone to that. Coached Mahomes at Tech as well.
Hmm
He targeted Kyler Murray, knowing how he was in college. Like, yeah,
You know, who he
he's
reminds me of is a cross between Lamar and Mahomes.
yeah, that's
He
a
can
good
run. He can
comp.
run like Lamar, but he can throw. He's not afraid to throw it like Mahomes. You know,
It's a
I
good
mean,
comp.
Lamar
And he
just
only
makes,
did 289 yards, so he definitely likes to run. So
but
that's
very efficient. You know, with that
yeah.
with those four touchdowns with only 21 completions. So that's pretty good.
And, the problem I think with Tennessee though, and I've seen it in the last couple of years is all you have to do is stop Derrick Henry. Like yes, they have AJ Brown, yes, they have Julio Jones, but you stop Derrick Henry, and you got a really good chance to win the game. And that's what they
What
did. 17 carries for 58 yards.
what happened early in this game is Arizona got up pretty quick and it put Tennessee. Tennessee tried to come out and play shootout with them, and you can't do that if that's not your game, and against a team that's better at it than you are. And Tannehill got sacked what three times by Chandler Jones in the first quarter or first half.
6 total.
Yeah,
God.
and he just but by that time it was already I think it was 17 nothing, and then 24-6 at halftime, and you put Tennessee in a hole. You're right. That is not their game. Henry's not going to save them in those kind of games. They're the kind of team that has to play from ahead.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think they're
Just
going to
run the ball down
revisit
their
their
throat. Yep.
revisit their scheme and say we got to stick to our game plan and just play our game. Don't try to get into a shootout if you don't have to.
Well, I think maybe they're another one of those teams that got figured out.
Maybe
Arizona. I know Arizona didn't have a really good defense last year, but I think they did put some pieces in play this year to be somewhat better.
it's better. They added some pieces, but they're still weak at corner. Um, they were talking about that on the pregame show. They're talking about good safeties, good linebackers, but their corners, you never heard of these guys. I don't even know who it's. Marco Wilson. Who was the other
Golden.
guy? Golden. I mean, some of these guys are, they're not all, not everybody's heard of these guys. So we'll see. We'll see how it holds up when they start playing the Seahawks and other teams in their division, the Rams, right? Who can score with them, right? So we'll see.
Yeah, and being a Texans homer, I'd like to really see what J.J. Watt does. I think he's kind of past his prime. He got married, so
Yep. No, he actually had a good game.
Yeah, he had two tackle. Well, he had two
He
solo
had a tackle
tackles
for
and one for a
loss.
loss. I just looked that
Yeah.
up, but we'll see. I mean, I think he just went out of Houston like everyone else in this world, except for the fans. But D Hop, I'm proud of him. And I wish we still had him. He put up a good show. AJ Brown, kind of a quiet night. I know you were mentioning something about Julio. Did you have something in
Well, just Julio did his normal Julio thing.
mm,
You
in between
throw
the
a jump,
twenties?
you throw a jump ball to him in the end zone. He always drops it. That's why people always say he's the best receiver in football. I was like, well, between the 20s, yeah, but he's not a D Hop. He's not Devontae Adams, where you throw it up in the air in the end zone. Those guys get the ball. They take it from that defender and they want it. Julio, he always gets the ball. He can have it in his hands, and the ball always goes through his hands or deflected or something. He just doesn't have it in the end zone for some reason. He's not a jump ball kind of guy. And he had one of those that would have helped the Titans early. Went through his hands, and then I think the Titans fumbled or something after that. I think they got sacked, and Tannehill got fumbled the ball like 2 plays later, so they lost out on that drive. So it could have been a touchdown early to kind of change the course of the game, but that's the way it goes. But I don't know. I don't know if Julio's what he's going to do for this team. We'll see. I thought it was a good trade for him, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
he's not
Julio
gonna be
might be
number
past
one
his
though.
prime.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
not gonna be number one. I think he's there,
No.
basically just a big name decoy.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
but yeah, you're right. Like I said, we'll see how he does. AJ Brown's probably still gonna ball out. You know, I'm hoping for him. He's definitely put in the work last year.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean we'll see. We'll see how they do. I don't think being in the same division though. What's good for Tennessee is that they're in a division with really weak teams.
Yep.
The only one that's really going to probably give them a run for their money is the Colts,
Yep.
and we haven't gotten into them yet, but they might be next. I don't know. I can't remember the layout, but they'll still be a strong team. I don't think they're going to win any games like they did last year in the playoffs, but they'll definitely
No.
give it a go.
I think that we're going to see. It's still early, of course, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Not too impressed though, but yeah, we will see. And yes,
Okay.
just speak of the devil, the Colts and the
Good
Seahawks,
segue. Yep.
right? um, let's see. The Seahawks took it away, 28-16. I think I was a little surprised on this one. I picked the Seahawks to win, but I didn't think it was going to be this big of a lead. I guess I expected more from Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz, even though he's just getting off a serious injury.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, I didn't really know how the Seahawks D was going to be, knowing that they're not the Legion of Boom anymore. They're not the 12th man and everything that they used to be. So I was nervous, but I knew Russell Wilson would ball out. He's got good receiving core to throw to, which we'll get into, right? But Carson, man, I didn't know who this guy was 3 years ago, and he just continues to dominate as long as he stays healthy and on the field. He had 16 carries for 91 yards. I mean,
when he's on the field, he's excellent. He's hard to tackle. He breaks tackles. He's fast. But again, he misses 4 to 5 games a year for minor muscle stuff, and it's just annoying if you own him. So a lot of people avoid him. But health, and the problem is that Seahawks don't have any. They never have backups, like good backups.
right. You hear about Rashad Penny all the time.
He got hurt again.
He's always hurt.
He's always another guy that always gets hurt. I don't understand.
Like Darius Geis or Juice or whatever his name is. Like
Geis,
I don't think he's touched the football in
Nope.
like 3 years.
Some guys just cannot stay on the field, no matter what. But I was curious to see how Carson Wentz was going to come out in this game.
Yeah.
He looked okay from what I saw.
Check down
He
Charlie.
he looked like Carson Wentz. I
was
don't know
gonna
if
say,
that,
wait, was Phillip Rivers still playing on the team?
I
or
mean,
what?
the ball had more juice on it for sure. I could see that. But he's afraid to throw the ball and shoot it deep every now and then. He likes to do check down, like he said. He's not a big let me throw the ball 35 yards down the field kind of a thing. He's very comfortable throwing the West Coast offense kind of stuff.
Wasn't T.Y. Hilton just bragging on him though, like in the
Yeah.
offseason before he got hurt?
Before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even though he got hurt,
to come back.
well, they still got weapons. They still got Pittman and Paris Campbell. and Hines, of course. But Pascal caught an early. He caught 2 touchdowns. He caught an
Yep,
early
too.
touchdown.
The
So they
dude
got
only had 5
receivers.
targets though.
I don't understand. Yeah, I didn't watch a lot of this game, but what I did see was Lockett. Dude, of course, two of the teams I played this week had Tyler Lockett. I'm like, come on, come on.
Man,
So he
he
went off
was.
like he always does.
Yeah, there are people. The couple of people that I listened to, like they picked Lockett to be a great value at where he was getting drafted at.
Yes, he was a great value this year, but a lot of fantasy
Genuine.
prognosticators did not like him this year for some reason. I don't know why, but
I always had a hard time the last couple of years pushing that button on Lockett, and I
hmm
don't know why. I just something in my gut, I
yeah,
couldn't pull the trigger on him, but man, it bites me in the ass every time.
hmm he he always has about 4 monster games every year, and then he's quiet the rest of the year. You're going to get more consistency out of DK for sure.
Yeah,
There's no doubt about that. I mean, even DK had a decent day, touchdown, 60 yards, not bad. That's a good solid day.
and the
But Lockett,
touchdown, yeah, yeah.
but Lockett will have these days where he just catches 2 long bombs and usually more than 100. Usually it's like 180 yards, but still that's a big first day. But
Yeah, 4 receptions and his long being 69. So yeah, I mean only 3 receptions, three. That's a 10-yard average, but
yeah, the other
on his other
ones, yep,
ones,
yep. But yeah,
um,
Russ looked sharp. He looked really sharp for sure.
he was another one that I was trying to target definitely for a draft, but he always seemed to go right before
Yep,
I had that
same.
opportunity.
I didn't want to pay that much for him, but he kept going, and so we'll see. I think the Seahawks look. That's a good start for them. They always start fast, though. That's
Dude,
the
they're in a
Seahawks
tough
thing.
division. That is a very
Very
tough
tough division.
division.
You got to come out winning. I think every team in that division won, didn't they? If
Seahawks,
I'm not
Cardinals,
mistaken.
49ers. Who am I missing? Oh, and the Rams.
Yeah,
Yeah, yep.
I think they all won, so they needed to keep pace with each other. So we'll see. I don't know what to make of the. I think the Colts and the Titans left a lot of questions there. There's going to be one of those guys winning the division. Who's going to shore up their overall team more, right? Who's got, I think the Titans potentially have more upside, just because I like if they stick with their plan with the run game, they can do more. But the Colts, not quite sure what they're about yet with Carson Wentz back there. I just don't know. So
See, I disagree. I think the Colts might have better upside. I think they have a better defense overall.
they do.
Um,
It's true.
And I think once Carson gets a little more feet under him, maybe get a little healthier from his injury, he's got a few more passing options, which would be great, which would also then maybe open up the running lanes for Jonathan Taylor to do his work. Because I think he's a great back too. He just needs to, I don't want to see it being what happened to Saquon and what happened to, oh God, Melvin Gordon when he was still on the Chargers, right? Like they had
hmm
no passing game, and so they just stuffed the box all the time, and that's why
Yeah.
Oh no, not Melvin Gordon. It was it Dalvin Cook? No, I'm sorry, Adrian Peter. I don't know. It was all of those guys, but mainly for Saquon Barkley for sure. Like they stuffed the box every game on him for last
Yep.
year
Yep.
or 2 years ago, and he didn't get anywhere. But I think they've got like you said, they all got some growing pains to get through.
Yep.
Get some more practice under their belt,
Yep.
and get that team camaraderie going,
Yep.
and they'll be all right. All
All
right.
right. Let's move on here to the next
So
one.
yeah,
We got
speaking of Melvin Gordon of late, Chargers and Washington, and I tell you, this one I knew was going to be a very tough
hmm
physical matchup.
ugly game. It really was an ugly game. You know,
And I have predicted, man, I had a lot of hope in Washington myself. Although, Eckler's one of my guys that like I've got high hopes for him this year. I think he's going to do great. He was my number one pick out of pick number 9 in round one.
hmm
Um,
it's about where he was. Is pretty much his ADP everywhere. Yep.
yeah, I was happy to pick him up, but I knew he was going to have a hard game this game, and I am
Yep.
surprised. I'm shocked that they still came out with a win.
Yeah. Washington. The fact that Fitz went down early really just
Yes,
destroyed their
that's
whole game
oh
plan. That
man,
really
forgot about
hurt
that.
hurt Washington. I mean, Fitz. They say he's out for a long time now.
Yeah, at least like eight
Uh,
weeks probably.
eight
Yeah.
weeks probably with the hip thing. So he was in a lot of pain. So I feel bad for the guy. he's a true good guy that everybody likes, good gamer. But of course, I'm a Dallas fan, so don't feel bad for Washington losing, but I feel bad for Fitz. But Henneke, he's one of those guys. He's a gutsy kind of a guy. He's got an arm. He can run a little bit. Just don't know, he's only played what, 5 games or something like that, so, or maybe 6 games. So I don't know. Can he run an NFL offense for a full season? We're going to find out over the next 7 weeks, right?
I think Heineke is going to get a bunch of hickeys all over his body.
You're probably right. He's going to get beat up quite a bit. We're going to see. I think they're
going
to have to ride. They're going to have to ride Gibson pretty hard.
Get Cam Newton. I know
they might.
I know Ron said no, but
that's
he
the
also
thing.
had
Without that history there,
magic in his pocket too.
With that history there, I don't know if that's the place he would go. So we'll see.
Yeah, I hope not, because I kind of was picking Washington to win the division. Sorry, but
everybody that was a popular pick for Washington with their defense, because they pretty much shut down the Chargers' offense. Herbert, he couldn't. He
did pretty good.
He did okay. I was, the one interception he threw, or I guess they called it a fumble. It was not a fumble. I don't know what. It should have had more points.
Interception, unless that was another thing.
No, it was a fumble. So his arm, you have to look at this replay. His arm was going forward, and the guy behind him tipped the ball, and he threw it, and the ball still came out of his hand forward, and it even came out as a side spiral, but it still was a spiral, and it still went forward, and they called it a fumble. It went out of the end zone, and I was like, what? How is that not an incomplete pass? And that was like at the 20-yard line. The Chargers would have scored even more points. I was so ticked.
I missed that one too, yeah.
Yeah, that was a bad call by I don't know what they were looking at. But no, Keenan Allen, I have Keenan, and he did his normal 9 catches, 100 yards. That's what he does every week. Mm-hmm. That's what he does.
Mike Williams, man.
Mike Williams had a monster catch.
He balled out. But then, Old Man Cook, jeez.
He's up there. He's been around a long time.
He's doing the Brady diet or something. He's still kicking
34 or something,
34,
yards. 35, yeah.
Golly. Eckler did okay. Like he scored a touchdown. We're good there.
Yep.
But we definitely found out that Roundtree is the handcuff there, the backup for sure.
Yeah, it's funny is I'm in a league with I share a team with somebody. My teammate, he was so big on Roundtree. He made me pick Roundtree as our last pick. He said, whatever you do, he had to go. Our draft was on 5 hours for our auction draft. He said, whatever you do, please pick Larry Roundtree. I never even heard of the guy. I was like, okay. So I did it. He wanted to sign him to a contract, and I was like, we can't afford. We got too many contracts already. We just can't do it. So I don't know. He looked okay out there. Nothing crazy, nothing magical or anything. Of course, it was against a good defense, but I just don't know if he's going to necessarily be. I mean, Eckler's obviously the man there. So
yeah, we'll definitely talk about this team next week. Cause I think they're playing your boys.
They are. Yep. We'll get to that in a minute.
But yeah, hopefully Washington will have some answers for the quarterback. I'd like to see McLaurin not take a hit.
Yeah, I think that's going to affect McLaurin a lot, unfortunately. I mean, he's still going to get targets and everything, but I just don't. I think Fitz was really going to not. He's not going to blow it up, but he was going to be consistent, right? And Henneke, nobody knows how he's going to look, right? So we'll see.
10-yard average ish. So
yeah.
I just don't. Hopefully, they're not going to stack the boxes on Gibson because him. It's funny is like in my league, my Homer league, I have both Gibson after a trade that I just committed before the game started, and Eckler. So those are my 2 running backs. So I'm hoping big things from them.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, Chargers took it away at 2016. Moving on to game. Oh, the ugly of the ugly. What is this? Revenge game.
The Darnold Bowl. Yep.
Yeah, Jets and Panthers. Well, luckily for Darnold, he got his payback by 5 points, 19-14.
Yep.
But I couldn't imagine the outcome being any other way. You got your Christian McCaffrey back. You got your boy Robbie Anderson back from Jets.
Yep.
Like the writing was on the walls. I'm just surprised it was this close.
Same. McCaffrey did McCaffrey things, 190 all-purpose yards. No touchdowns, but he still caught 9 passes, 190 all-purpose yards. Give me
Yeah.
26 points from McCaffrey every week. I'll take that.
Yep.
In
Guaranteed.
fantasy, he's guaranteed that every week or more. Zach Wilson played like a rookie for the most part. He threw 2 touchdowns, but he looked a little
I think he
lost out
looked
there at
solid.
times.
I think he looked pretty good for a
He
rookie.
looked he looked not bad. He looked like I thought he was going to look. At times, a couple of bad throws, made some good throws. He was just inconsistent, which is what you expect out of a rookie, right? Inconsistency.
Yeah, he's going to keep looking
Um,
for his boy Corey Davis.
yeah, no, he's
That's
going to
what
be
he's going
fine.
to.
I think Zach Wilson's got a lot of talent. I think he'll
Um,
be fine. His quarterback rating 28.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think he'll get better.
he
I think
will.
he'll do just get some more experience under his belt. He'll be
Un-
fine.
Unfortunately, they lost their best offensive lineman.
Oh
Um,
yeah, ACL right.
yeah, so he's out. That's going to really hurt them. Um,
Tevin Coleman, another guy who probably just needs to retire.
he just he was when he was on the Falcons. He was the perfect fit because he was the change of pace back when they had Foreman
Todd
there.
Gurley, right?
They had Foreman
That's right.
and or Freeman. Sorry, not Foreman.
Yeah,
Freeman.
Devonta Freeman.
Devontae Freeman. He was a perfect speed back. He was on the turf, indoors. He was fast. But he is not a bell cow guy. After watching him for years, there he's a fast change of. That's what he is. He's a change of pace back. He likes to look for holes. He doesn't like to run it up the middle. And it's just so the fact that he had 9 carries, I'm not sure what they're doing.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
need to get Michael Carter the ball. See
I
what
know
he
I've
can
got
do.
Michael Carter in one league, so I don't.
Four. I mean, 4 carries and 6 yards. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously that doesn't look good on paper, but I
it
bet
wasn't his fault.
if they gave him the opportunities that they're, maybe giving Tevin Coleman, give him the same opportunities,
Hmm.
I bet he'd make more out of it.
Well, look at all their running backs only average 2.6 yards a carry, so
Yeah.
nothing really happening there. No push from the offensive line, so
Well, like you said, maybe that injury really meant a lot.
it it might have. But
So
overall, Darnold looked pretty good. He was very efficient. He hit it, Robbie Anderson, like you said, one time deep. That's what Robbie does. Catches 2 balls or usually one for a touchdown.
yeah, that's what he did.
Um,
1 for 57 in the touch.
that's what he does.
I'm interested to
He,
see what happens with the wide receiver 3 there, that Terrace Marshall fella.
yeah,
I'd like to see more from
DJ
him.
Moore. I like DJ Moore. He's a good receiver. He's still fairly young, so we'll see what happens there with that offense. But that was a pretty ugly game overall. I
Yep.
mean, Carolina got way up on them, and then Jets kind of came back a little bit, and then it was just a matter of the Panthers holding on at the end because the Jets were kind of rallying a little bit, but never really felt like that was going to happen just because he just didn't. I don't know about Zach being a rookie, Zach Wilson necessarily coming in and doing a lot. So we'll
Yeah.
see. I think Zach Wilson will get better. I think overall this is a good fit for Darnold. He needed a change of scenery, get out of New York, and I think both these teams. I think Carolina's going to be better than most people think they are this year. Personally, I can see them as an 8-8 kind of a team, which is not
Agreed.
great, but they're not going to be as bad as they were last year. But I think the Jets are going to be another
I mean,
foreign
who's in their division? Like,
Falcons, Saints, and Tampa. Tampa, of course, there's 2 losses with Tampa right
oh,
there.
yeah. So they're not going to make the playoffs,
No, they
unfortunately.
won't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they'll be an okay team. They'll be a decent team.
Yeah, like I said,
They have a young
eight and eight. That's good.
defense. They have a young defense. So
We don't
so
we
we'll
don't need to talk about this slobber knocker. It's good to see McCaffrey back.
yeah, it
Um,
was.
Boring game all around, but
Yeah, here comes another one. I know this is your team, but this is your
no,
team. But
dude.
this one was not ugly. It was like the Jaguars got so down so early, it was almost unwatchable. But I know you enjoyed it.
I, honestly, I think I probably was off doing something else when this game was on, and I was just watching, keeping up with the stats and stuff on my phone. But because I don't know, maybe I was just embarrassed to see what happened. I don't know. There were some aspects of this game that kind of pissed me off, and it wasn't even on the Texans side. Like, for one, Urban Meyer, WTF, dude, you are worse than Mike McCarthy. You're worse than Nick Saban. You probably need to go back to college. But thank you for sticking around for week 1 while the Texans can beat you for their only win for the season.
Yeah,
So
he's in
thank
over
you
his
for
head.
that.
He's in over his head.
Tyrod Taylor, man, I'm glad he actually got to play and
Hmm.
he didn't get any injections in the locker room because God, I did not want Davis Mills or whatever his name is out there or quarterback. That dude is garbage. Mark Ingram, well, another old man River, but he actually did some good running there. So I can't hate him for that. I was just really expecting more from Philip Lindsay. I thought he was going to be the little speedy back out of Denver.
He's like Tevin Coleman, where he's a change of pace kind of guy. You know,
He did get a
really
touch,
quick.
but
He did get a touch. That's his game. Run outside. Use his speed, catch the ball a little bit. Um, Ingram did his thing. When you have a big lead, he's the perfect back for that. Just a power runner, runs angry. So yeah, he got a
oh
lot of
man,
carries. Not very efficient.
Dave Johnson. Like I don't know where all this offense came from, but I did see my boy Amendola got
Yes, I
signed
did see
last
him, and
minute.
I did see that touchdown. I was like, what? This guy's still
Yeah,
playing? What is
yeah,
what is
good
happening
for
here?
him, man. Danny Amendola, my boy from Texas Tech alum.
Yep,
Represent Brandon Cooks, dude. I'm happy for you too, man. I know you've been around the block a time or two, several different quarterbacks, all shitty,
yep.
and you're still just busting out numbers, man. I thought about picking you up, but I didn't. I couldn't trust it. I didn't even know who the quarterback was going to be. But yeah, no, solid performance from Houston. That's just unexpected. But at the same time, that's the question, right? Like, was this unexpected offense from the Texans, or was it just piss poor defense on the Jaguars? It's like what
Probably
came first, the
mostly,
chicken or the egg?
probably a lot of the Jaguars playing some bad defense, but the Texans have some weapons there for sure. It just depends on how well Tyrod plays. He's another one of those guys, like we talked about, that can't stay healthy or just goes into a bad situation. You know,
Yeah,
um, like what happened was it last year in San Diego,
happened there, and then he got booted from the
Cleveland.
island in Cleveland, right? Yeah.
Yep, yep. So he's
Um,
got talent. He's got a good arm. He's obviously really smart. He works hard. He he at times he looks really good, really sharp. Other times he looks a little inconsistent, but we'll see what happens. I mean, if the Houston Texans are ever going to trade Deshaun, who knows what's going to happen with that
Dude,
situation?
I have a sneaking suspicion that he's not going to go anywhere. I know Miami's really looking at him, but then especially by the owner of Crazy Things, but knowing the pitfall of the HR crap show that they're going to get for hiring him or trading for him.
Trading
And
for him,
then, but
yeah.
that last, what it was? I know I made a trade, and I think I got out the big end of it. Well, I'm starting to get mixed feelings on it now. So I traded away Clyde
Mm,
Edwards-Helaire and Deshaun Watson for Justin Fields and James Robinson. And
mm-hmm.
so at first I was thinking, well, great, I got the great end of the deal here because Deshaun Watson's just going to sit on the bench all year.
Yep.
And there was a report that made me satisfied about that. That the NFL, if he is to get traded somewhere, then that's probably when they're going to lay the stick down.
He'll
Um,
be sitting out 6 games or whatever. Excuse
right,
me.
right, or
Yep.
something.
Yep. He'll be sitting
But
out a while.
that's
So
just all those allegations, man. I mean, that's just pitiful. That's just,
yeah,
man,
we don't want to go down that rabbit hole here, but
disappointment. But
so what was really just to change gears back to this so we can move on. We're kind of
yeah,
rolling on in time, but James Robinson was really disappointing because you
God,
mentioned you
that's
had him
exactly,
five
yeah.
carries.
That was my mixed feelings. Like, and another disdain of Urban Meyer. Like, dude, Carlos Hyde, Ohio State, like that was 15 years ago. Like, move on.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. What is he doing with more carries than James Robinson? Come on, dude.
yeah,
Seriously. Yep.
not for 44. I mean, sure, he had a decent average, I guess, about the same.
But still,
But I mean, look at the tape of what Robinson did last year.
he was a
Like,
beast. Yep.
tie that in with Lawrence. I mean, they need to work out the kinks. They could have such a good team if they were just coached better. So
Lawrence is going to be this year's Joe Burrow. He's going to be throwing the ball 50 times.
yeah,
They're
well,
going to get
hopefully he's not
behind
going to
so
get an
much.
ACL tear, but
Exactly. But he's just going to, every game, 50 throws, 50 throws. And he's probably going to end up just like this: 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions every week.
hey,
That's just a
quarterback rating of
rookie thing.
14.
We're quarterback every week.
Maybe next week. And I think what I we might have mentioned this earlier or talked about it earlier, but yeah, we can move on after this. Is with Urban Meyer, and I mentioned Nick Saban, like he's either going to quit himself after
Mhm.
the next couple of weeks, or I have a sneaking suspicion that he's choking on purpose. He's sandbagging to get Daryl Bevell out of the GM role. Maybe by mid-season he will get canned, which leaves that door wide open for Urban Meyer, so he can have all that control that he wants. To then, and if they tank, then he'll get his draft pick for next year, so he can just start building his team the way he wants it, be the GM, and then get all the credit. That's what I really think is happening.
I have a hard time when not a hard time. It's just people think that some teams tank. It's just I just you know um, I see what you're saying. I just don't think that he's doing that or teams do that necessarily. He's trying to. I think he's just in over his head right now is what it is more than anything
Yeah,
else. That's
yeah,
just that's just my take. But
yeah.
anyway, let's move on to the game of the week. And
Oh yeah.
one of the
Oh
games of the
man,
week. This game was crazy.
beautiful game.
Browns, Chiefs coming back on the Browns. The Browns were dominating this game early. Um,
I was kind of half-heartedly rooting for the Browns because
yeah,
they've gone through a lot and they've done a lot of building.
yep.
Um,
I mean, they were just pounding Chiefs with just running the ball, and their defense was all over Mahomes, and nobody was open, and they couldn't get anything going, and it was Cleveland early. They were beaten up. I think was it 22-3 or 22-10 or something like that at one point. It was looking
mhm.
bad for KC. And then
Yep,
the
just
second
like the Super
half,
Bowl, baby.
second half, Cleveland didn't show up. Baker, he didn't play poorly.
No, 21 for 28 is very
Yeah,
accurate,
very
68
efficient.
quarterback rating. He just didn't have any
Yeah, very
touchdowns, and
efficient.
he
No
unfortunately had an
touchdowns, and that's the
interception.
thing.
That's it. Yeah,
Um,
Nick
I don't
Chubb being Nick
know.
Chubb.
Chubb, obviously I love the guy, for the Georgia guy. He's a
Yeah.
beast, but he had a costly fumble in that third quarter
Mm.
that turned the game a little bit. They were driving and he fumbled the ball like at their 40-yard line.
I was going to
Who
say,
knows?
do you
Who
think
knows
that
what's
was
going to
the
happen?
change, the
It
changing
might
of
have.
the
It
momentum?
did kind of change the momentum a little bit.
Yeah.
But man, every game, of course, Mahomes finds Tyreek when he most desperately. He just threw that one ball up for grabs. Of course, I don't know what for Tyreek for that 70-yard touchdown or something.
75, but
75.
it doesn't.
It
But
was.
what's crazy with him, he had 15 targets. He had 11 catches. So yeah, it
He
was one
did.
pass, but he was
Yep.
there all game.
Oh, he's always targeting him, and um, but I don't know what Cleveland's doing. You can't leave Tyreek's. He had the safety on him all by himself out there. It's like, what do you think's going to happen?
You can't slow the cheetah down, man.
No, and same thing with Kelsey too. He loved between Kelsey and Tyreek. Those two are just going to eat all day long. You just can't stop them.
That's the known commodity, right?
Yeah.
Like if you can stop those guys, like Edwards-Helaire, you still probably can just let him do what he wants and
Yep.
see what he does with it. It's like I don't think he's proven himself yet, so he's
Yep.
probably not that great. But you need to triple team Hill and you need to quadruple team Kelsey. Like
Yep.
that's it. Rush two people and send everyone else back.
Or if you do what Tampa did in the Super Bowl, of course, Kansas City. The problem there was that Kansas City was playing backup offensive linemen.
Yeah,
They have the
offensive
opposite
lineman.
now. They beefed up their offensive line big time this year. They fixed all that offensive line issues. So Mahomes had a lot of time. That was the reason why he could throw the ball to Tyreek 11 catches. So
So that's another good
um,
point. Kids at home, your O line is what saves the day. You might get all these stats from all these people, but the O line, if you don't got it, then you ain't got those stats.
it's all up front. If you can't protect the quarterback, or if you can't rush the quarterback, you're probably going to lose the games more likely than not. You got
Yeah.
to be able to protect that quarterback.
But yes, this was a great game, and I know we're running short on time, so we might need to just pick it up a little bit.
Yep. Yep.
But yeah, so Chiefs snuck out that win, 33-29 against the Browns at home. Next one, another dog shit game. I mean, this was boring.
It was kind of a boring game. A lot of dinking and dunking in this game.
Dolphins and Patriots. Dolphins with the sneak for 17-16. I know ultimately, we can go about each player, but the dagger was obviously the Damon Harris fumble at the within the
They
20
were
yard
going
line
down
in the
for the
red
win.
zone.
They were going to go down for the win with less than a minute probably to kick the field goal.
Yep, he had a hell of a
Um,
game before that too. 23
he had a
carries for
great
100
game.
yards.
Yep, great game. And, You just cannot fumble. And then, okay, so I was going to talk about Ramondre Stevenson
Mm-hmm.
real quick. So people were high on him in the preseason, how good he looked. He had a couple of big runs and stuff like that. I watched 3 plays he went in the game. That one carry there, um,
For two
he literally
yards.
ran 2 yard. Well, he ran into the back of his own offensive lineman and then tripped, fell forward for 2 yards. He was in for uh, 2 pass plays. One pass play, he tried to set up a block, and literally the linebacker just literally just ran over him, and it was basically a sack on Mac Jones. And
Oh yeah,
then
for
the
that pass
third
protection.
play,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
third play he went out for a pass and he went the wrong way on his pattern. They were talking about it, and they were like, "That poor guy just looked lost out there." He's a rookie, but I don't think he's ready by any stretch to play a lot of snaps the way he looked out there. So it looks like it's going to be the Damian Harris and James White show, from what I saw out there. I
Yeah,
don't
we'll
think
see. I mean,
Ramondre's ready at all.
I
So
picked Stevenson up just as a last resort before the
yeah,
game that was.
I
So
have messed my handcuff for Damian Harris, but I don't think it's going to come into effect. I hope it doesn't because he looked pretty bad out there.
just
Um,
just to touch on the receivers,
yep,
I had big hopes for Jacoby Myers. He did mediocre. I mean, he gave me 10 points.
yeah,
He's supposed to be the Mac Jones golden boy, but
yep,
Aguilar, he came in, he showed up, he did it in off season. He had a really good game with a decent 25 long after a touchdown. He got 5 receptions for 72 yards total.
yep.
James White, as the passing back, he put up some numbers there, 6 for 49. Really, other than that, nothing too crazy from the Patriots. I mean, like I said, a 17-6 loss for them, and there's just really no offense that came through. But I think it will
No,
come with time. I mean, I think Mac Jones probably did a much better job than what Cam Newton would have done.
yep.
Um,
His quarterback rating was very solid, 75. He played very efficient, which is what you expect out of him.
yeah, the
Um,
next Tom Brady, right?
pretty much. He played very smart ball, just nothing explosive. He's afraid to throw the ball down the field. I don't know if it's because nobody's open yet or not. He doesn't have fast receivers, but I didn't see him. He doesn't throw the ball more than 15 yards down the
I
field.
don't think they have
So
any big receivers.
they don't. They're all undersized. The only thing they have is their big tight ends, and that's it.
Yeah, which
Hunter
they
Henry
wouldn't think
didn't
they
do
caught
much.
anything. You got Hunter Henry with 3 for 31. Oh,
Yep,
Johnny went
Johnu,
5 for 42. Yeah,
42. Yeah, I saw Johnu in there a lot more than Hunter Henry.
maybe
But
something to look for in the future.
to the Dolphins,
Tua, man.
Waddle caught a touchdown. Um, Devontae Parker got some targets. Gaskin looked okay. Tua, you know, his quarterback rating was not so good. He's very inconsistent. Very inconsistent. It's hard to figure him out. You know,
Tua is Pua.
he
And he's
hasn't
got
done
so
too
many
much
weapons.
yet.
It'll be interesting to see what he does whenever Fuller gets on the field. Like, I didn't watch this game. I didn't want to watch this game. If you watched
Yep.
it, did he throw downfield at all?
Yeah, he threw some to Devontae, to Parker. He caught a couple of long pass, 36 yards, 30 yards to
Okay. Yeah,
Gaskins and Waddle. He
Waddle.
threw some. He definitely stretched the ball more than Mac Jones did.
Hmm.
Um,
With
he's
more
got fat.
weapons,
He's
that's
got
good.
speed. He's got speed for his receivers. Albert Wilson, he had him on a bomb and he just overthrew him for a touchdown.
Hmm.
So,
Man,
um,
Gesicki, big gooser, huh?
oh, nothing for Gesicki. I know a lot of people were high on him.
Yeah,
He'll pick it up. Gesicki will. But the Patriots have a good defense. So
that's right. They
both these
do.
teams have pretty good defenses. So it was just a lot of good defense being played overall. So yeah, Miami eat that out. Got off in the division. Patriots are 0-1 behind the 8 ball to start, which is the unfamiliar territory for them. But
Yeah, I was
still early.
surprised. I mean, the Dolphins always have their number, but I was surprised that they lost in Foxborough. Like
Yes, that was
that was the
surprising.
thing with me.
Yep.
So maybe they can get them over in their hometown next time around.
Yep.
Oh man, this is another one that
This
was
was the shocker of the day. I don't. You
yeah.
could not have. You could. I would have bet my house on this game that this. You could have said if the Saints are going to
You'd
win
be
by
homeless.
35, Saints were going to win by 35. I would have bet the house on this. That there's no way that's going to happen
38-3, New Orleans Saints at home
in Jackson.
slash
It was actually in
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy. Aaron Rodgers can go
He
eat
looked like he
shit.
wanted no part of this game. He was disinterested. He was too busy
Drama king, man.
combing his hair. You know.
God, that guy. Ooh, they just need to put Jordan Love in and ship him away.
Because, I mean, that's the worst quarterback I've ever seen Aaron Rodgers have, a 13.
13.
That
Hell
is
yeah. That's
that is
awesome to see.
bad.
Have a slice of humble pie, Aaron.
I mean, there's nothing to say about any part of their offense. That's all we're going to say about their offense and this
Yeah.
crap.
Yeah, the backup Aaron Jones did better. That's okay. Devontae Adams, didn't do
No,
anything.
nothing.
I wish I saw more out of Randall Cobb, but I mean he was on my bench anyway, so it doesn't matter. But
Yeah.
yeah, Packers, you
I
got
didn't.
some explaining
I
to do.
I thought about Randall Cobb early with some drafting and stuff like that, but then I looked at some of the stuff. He hasn't been fantasy relevant since like 2014,
When he was with the
and
Packers.
well, but even then it was down the downtrend. And he's old. He's 34 now, so he's not going to
Yeah.
get faster. But um,
Yeah, he
to the
might
opposite
be.
side of that, we had New Orleans with Jameis with the game of his life, five
How
touchdowns
can yes on 100? Wait, 5 touchdowns,
on 14
14
completions.
passes or
Yep,
completions,
yep,
148 yards.
that's crazy.
But even it's crazy, like no interceptions. Like
No
who is
interceptions.
this
He
guy?
played the game of his life. He
Where
he
did
was
this guy
he
come
balled
from?
out. Yep.
Ran for 37 yards on 6 carries, 5 touchdowns though, man. Like God,
He looks he
waiver
looks
wire. Hello.
he looks like a brand new player. Um, compared to where he was when he first came in the league. He's lost weight. He looks slimmer. His arm looks better. He just
He's
made a lot better
eating those
decisions.
W's.
Yeah, he's not worried about doing stupid stuff on the sideline. He's doing he's playing quarterback now in the
He's
NFL.
leaving
He's an
girls
NFL
alone.
quarterback now.
Yep.
So he was very impressive.
Oh
So
yeah,
Kamara doing his thing.
Mm-hmm. Did he catch any passes? He caught 3.
Yep.
So yeah, I think it's probably a mediocre day for him. No touchdowns. Oh yeah, he did.
Yep.
He caught a touchdown.
He caught a touchdown.
I would
Yep.
imagine one of those 5 had to be to Kamara.
His little swing pass. Yep.
But yeah, this Jawan Johnson.
Oh no. Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna move on to Jawan Johnson, like
Yeah.
the wide receiver, tight end, combobulate, but only in Yahoo leagues for whatever reason. Sadly, he's already picked up in my league because in our league where we drafted a whole bunch of quarterbacks,
Yep.
they decided to draft a bunch of tight ends. So all of
So
those
he's
are
gone.
gone. I did pick up Troutman though.
Maybe he had potential. I mean, everybody looked good for the Saints.
Yeah,
They just looked like a more complete team than Green Bay did for sure that particular day. Um, Tony Jones actually looked pretty
Tony
good as a running
Jones,
back
man,
out
he's
there.
a
He looked
good
pretty good.
handcuff. He's a
Yeah.
great handcuff. I can see why Lat Murray was let go
Yep.
for sure. Taysom Hill, where were you? Nowhere.
Nowhere. He didn't. He
He's
came in on a
up
few
as tight
snaps. He
end.
kind of was just watching. So yeah, it was a butt whooping. Saints put it to the Packers. We'll see if
Good for them,
Packers
man.
can come back next week and the
Who
Saints,
dat? Yeah.
if they were for real or not. We'll find out.
Yep. All right. Another good one here. I actually picked this one. I think the Broncos were the underdog going into
First,
the Meadowlands.
I have no idea why, because the Giants are just a crap team.
Yeah, I don't think anyone believed in their defense and thought that their offense was like last year's offense, even though they brought in Teddy Bridge and
Bridgewater balled out, man.
Yeah,
Did you watch the
95.
highlights of that game?
Not all of them. I saw a couple. I did see, unfortunately, that Jerry Jeudy went down.
Yep,
He'll be
Jeudy.
out for maybe 4 to 6 weeks.
Probably 4 to 6, maybe. Yeah, it's high ankle sprain. Yep.
Melvin Gordon, like that's the thing, man.
Gordon
I drafted
balled
Javonte Williams high.
Everybody
He's
did.
going to be the replacement.
He had more carries. Yeah.
Well,
Well, Gordon just had that one long carry.
yeah.
He broke outside and just took it down the sideline.
But yeah, no, I heard Bridgewater balled out.
He
did a great
did.
job.
He looked really impressive. Two of his touchdowns, he just was faking linebackers out and throwing touchdowns. Well, I was like, who is
breaking
this
ankles,
guy?
Yeah.
He was. That was really impressive.
Got them
And Daniel
Teddy
Jones
Bridges.
doing Daniel Jones things, fumbling the ball a couple times.
Man, what's crazy, I picked him up. He was like, I said we had a bunch of quarterbacks drafted. Well, I drafted Daniel Jones in the very last round as my QB1.
Yep.
And then I dropped him for Sam Darnold. And then I look, and Daniel Jones, as shitty as he played, he had like 28 points or something.
He ran for a touchdown and threw for a
Garbage
touchdown.
time,
Yep.
man. But that's what he is, Daniel Garbage Jones.
That's what he is.
And
So I think that's what the Giants have, a bad offensive line. Denver has a really good defensive line. That's what happened here. They were just in Daniel Jones's face all day,
I'll tell you
and
what, who
they
looked
ate
good
his
though.
lunch.
Sterling Shepard, man.
He
Good
looked
for
really
him. He
good.
looked really good.
Got that new number going. He looked really fast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great touchdown he had.
Seven
Um,
for 113 and a touch. Yep. Barkley's man 2.6.
no,
This is what I'm talking about.
Barkley's not ready. I mean, he's going to take him time to recover. He can run, but he's not the same. He'll be back next year if he stays healthy.
Yeah, he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay on his feet.
Yep. He just
Which
not. It takes time. It doesn't. You can't come back as a running back and be that effective that quickly, unless you're Adrian Peterson.
yeah, yeah.
Especially the reason is because the way Barkley runs, the much cutting as he does, he's not 100% to do that. He probably is 100%, but he's not like running at full speed. He probably doesn't feel confident.
And his thighs probably weigh like 75 pounds each.
They probably do. So
it's a lot of weight to carry, let alone a whole team on your shoulders.
I think Teddy Bridgewater is probably the guy. I think he's beat out Drew Lock for good.
Yeah.
Lock is just a guy. Got a good arm, but that's about it.
Just
a guy with a big arm. Yeah.
Afterthought. He's the next. Was the other guy that was there? Now he's been everywhere. Simeon.
Trevor Simeon. Yeah, he was okay. Locke he can throw the ball 80 yards, but he's just so inconsistent.
I guess the Giants, what they do have going for them though is they got a pretty decent defense, even though Janoris Jenkins is old as AF.
They do have a decent defense, but their offense is just
their offense is going
garbage.
to kill them. Their offense is going to kill the defense, and it's just not going to work out.
Yep.
So we'll see what comes on next. They're probably going to be the worst team in the division, next to the Cowboys.
I think so. I just don't know what to make of the Eagles yet, but.
Yeah.
And the Redskins, I think the Redskins without Fitz are going to kind of fall apart a little bit, unfortunately for them.
They need a stronger quarterback for sure. The Broncos, they got an upward battle. Shaking out the
tough
rust
division
from last year. Tough division with the Chiefs, especially.
Yep.
But we'll see what we can do for next game. It's just one step at a time, right?
Yep.
Two more to go. We got the Bears and the Rams. This one was clearly a Rams victory, 34-14. They were just better coached, better defense, better offense.
Everything. They're just a better team.
Just the overall team, and it definitely showed this game. And, we definitely have some ideas and opinions as far as the Bears moving forward. But as far as the Rams, like I said, Matthew Stafford, I think, he's lost some arm strength. I don't think he can do what Goff didn't do either. They're going to get to the playoffs, and it's not going to be just because of Stafford and his miracle arm. That's one thing. That's the one downside to that is I think they spent way too much to get Stafford for a little upgrade. But obviously he had a good game. He's going to have good games. 20 for 26 with 321, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Darrell Henderson looking good, 16 carries to 70 yards and a touch. Of course, you got a couple other people. Sony Michel, he didn't. I think
he played one play.
Practice.
He played one play. I saw that play at the end. That's all he did.
Yeah,
just to give Henderson a rest.
He gets more practice. He gets more reps, and I think he's going to slowly take over that role, or at least 50% of it.
Did you watch the game at all?
Sunday
night?
No, not this one. I think I was smoking some ribs at this point.
Okay. I watched the second half, and they were talking about Stafford. Chris Collinsworth was. And you're talking about so you're talking about some of their physical tools and why the coach McVay really likes him more instead of Goff. He felt like what he did was he traded a student for a peer. He felt like he was teaching Goff, and now with Stafford, he's got somebody who's equal as far as
a professor.
Exactly. Very similar mindset. They're very similar in age. Stafford's obviously got a lot more experience than Goff, and he has he's still got a pretty good arm. He's still got one of the top 10 arms in the league. So but that experience, you just can't put a price on that sometimes. And I think he feels like that's what he was paying for, was that experience, and feels like he has a photographic memory, and that's the kind of stuff that McVay has. They can remember when they see something. Oh, I got to change to this or something like that. And Goff just didn't have that next level, and that's what he was missing.
Right, and I get that, and that totally does make sense. But damn, that is a lot of
They
draft
gave up.
capital.
They did, for sure. And over to
Um,
the Chicago quarterback situation, the
yeah, if
Red
we want to stick
Rifle's not
over
going
to
to last long.
quarterback, oh my god, like yeah, like my opinion of Dalton, like sure, give the old homer guy a starting job, make Justin Fields work for it, blah blah blah. Even though you
Yep.
drafted him top 10 overall, blah blah blah. What's going to happen? And mark my words, we'll be on this next week, right? The Bears will be embarrassed by Cincinnati as Andy Dalton's revenge game. He'll get the shit kicked out of his teeth, and that's when they'll decide to play Justin Fields.
I
Calling
can
it
see
right
it.
now.
I can see it. No, I can see it.
That's what's going to happen.
Okay. We'll keep an eye on
Just to
that.
touch real quick on the receiving though, on the Rams, man. I didn't know they've got so many weapons too, right?
Yep.
Cooper Kupp, awfully the golden boy.
Yep.
Van Jefferson, didn't see that one. I mean, I know he's talented, but God,
Yeah, he blew
you're
up.
just leaving Robert Woods in the dust down there, man. He did get a touchdown, 3 for 27, but man, I had big plans for Robert Woods.
I think Robert Woods will be fine. He caught a touchdown too, but he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Higbee, he loves Stafford likes his tight end, so I think Higbee's going to have a big year.
Dang it, and I should have, man, I made a trade to get Antonio Gibson. I gave up quite a bit for him, and I got Gerald Everett instead of, I should have asked for
No, Everett
Higbee.
had a touchdown. I think Everett will have a good year too. We didn't talk about him, but I think he'll have a good year
He
too.
only had two catches on 2 targets for like 12 yards and a touchdown. It was just meh. But
I think Russ only had 20 completions, so
yeah. I don't know. I'll make do with that. I might just be streaming tight ends all year for that one.
okay.
But yeah, no. Obviously, Cooper Kupp is the favorite here. I think Robert Woods will get some better luck in the upcoming weeks. Just maybe wasn't in the game script this time around. Yeah, the running backs, we already touched on them. The running backs for Chicago, I mean, David Montgomery, man. Like, I was surprised.
He
The
balled
Rams have
out.
a solid D,
Yep.
and he picked up right where he left off from last year.
Yep. He balled
did
out
not
the second
expect
half of the
that.
year. He killed it, and he kept on this year, 100
Yeah, his
yards and a
strength of
touchdown.
schedule was so shitty last year.
It
That's
was.
why I'm thinking, like, oh, that's probably why he had all those points. But no, this guy's good. He's getting somewhere.
Remember when he was at
All right.
Iowa State? He broke a lot of tackles, and he continued to do that this game. He broke a lot of tackles. He
Man,
makes guys miss. He makes them miss, and that's what you want, right? You got to do that in the NFL. So he looked good.
I was very impressed. Very sad.
What's
I
holding him
didn't
back
take
right
that
now
penny
is
on
Dalton.
that. Allen Robinson, just a mediocre day for him. 6 for
Yep.
35, no touchdowns.
Nothing from the receiving. Look at that. Just nothing.
Marquise Goodwin, is he still a thing?
Yeah, he was out there. He still got speed. He looked pretty fast out there.
I just thought he'd retired and went back
He's been
to
hurt.
UT.
He's been hurt.
Well,
But,
yeah, the speedy legs.
Mooney's fast. Damian Williams actually caught some balls, and he ran the ball a little bit. He was out there. He looked pretty good out there. So he'll probably be he's the handcuff to have.
You think he's a handcuff
sure.
or just a change of pace?
I think a little bit of both. If you have a spot available, it might not be a bad idea.
Yeah. He's
Just
like
to
the
have
Darrell-
if you have
Darrell Williams.
Montgomery. Yeah, like Darrell Williams. Just to have if you need to have a guy that maybe has potential. He looked good out there, Damian Williams. Do we know he has juice?
Oddly,
So
has the
he's fast.
same initial and last name too. Just a
That's
different
how
logo.
odd. Yep.
So are we talking about the Chiefs or the Bears here?
The Bears here now. So the Rams kick some butt. Bears, hopefully they'll wake up soon and put in Fields, and
They'll start.
we'll
winning
see what they can do.
games.
We'll start winning games and see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yep. Fields. Will
Otherwise,
get
Nagy's not going to have a job soon enough. So
him. Yeah. So he better put Fields of Dreams in there.
Fields of Dreams. Yep.
Yeah, no, my next door neighbor's a big Bears homer, and he's just waiting. He's just waiting to pull the trigger on Fields. He'll be
Same
so
for me.
excited.
Big Bears fan. Got a big buddy who loves them and cannot wait. He's salivating. So,
All right, the game.
but the
Monday
game,
Night
the crazy
Football.
Monday night game.
Oh my gosh, man, was that a doozy?
The game was actually kind of boring early on, but not
yeah,
boring. Just wasn't not much going on. But
I just watched the last like 15 minutes of the game, and it was from my phone. I was like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, this is crazy. And
Yep.
of course, I picked Baltimore to win. Like, who wouldn't?
no, everybody thought Baltimore would come. They should have won the game.
They should have.
They kicked that field goal with 37 seconds left. You think they should win a game, but they
Yeah.
couldn't stop Waller. What did Waller have? 82 catches this game? No, only 10.
Yeah.
It felt like 82. He had
10,
well,
10
like he
for
had
19.
19 targets.
Yep. Of course, it
That's
was his
crazy.
29th. It was his 29th birthday though, so he
Yeah.
definitely had to get peppered.
Yep. But a monster game from him. He's
But
going to have a
yeah,
monster year. I
of
mean, he's about
course. And then what is it? Brian Edwards.
Brian Edwards. Yep.
Okay, he's
Had
actually
a great
showing up.
game. Yeah, he was fast. He looked really fast out there.
Tell you what, Drake looked pretty good on the
Drake
receiving
looked good
there.
on the receiving end. Yeah, Jacobs actually looked efficient running the ball. They didn't give him a lot of runs for some reason, but he
Yeah,
actually
10
looked
for
better than I thought he
34.
was going to look. So we'll see with this because he had a bad toe. I thought, man, if he plays, he's not going to do anything. He only had 3 point. He looked better than I thought he was going to look, considering he was kind of hobbled.
Well, now
Um,
I did not
who's that?
see this, but what happened here? I see Mariota 1 for 31 yards,
I
and
missed that play.
so I guess he was in for maybe like a what do you call that?
Probably a gadget
The
play, some sort of
wildcat
reverse
or
wildcat kind of situation. Yeah, I'm guessing.
man, he needs to be clobbered too. Mariota, he's like Mark Sanchez for me.
He just
Um,
all
but anyway,
kinds of
man, Chucky, like he's definitely animated on the sidelines. It's good to see him finally get a win.
for sure. They almost
But
gave it away. That was a crazy ending. Um,
but God, Carr, man, he went off. 56 thrown, 34 attempts, 435
435 guys.
yards. But he got sacked 3 times for 26, 2 touches and a pick,
Yep.
52 quarterback rating. It's crazy. Like you have all this offense and you have such a mediocre quarterback rating. Now, I
Well,
mean, of course, Lamar, his was 57, but he fumbled the ball like 17 times.
he did. He fumbled, lost it twice, and that's what cost him the game. His 2 fumbles.
Mm.
It really turned the game around for the Raiders. Him.
I mean, you
So I
can't
don't
wave the
know.
ball around.
The fact that they have, that Tyson Williams guy looked pretty decent out there.
Yeah, so why did
Um,
they only run him 9 times? Like that's
well, Lamar, they're going to run Lamar a lot. Latavius went in there, didn't do a lot of damage average wise, but he got a touchdown. I think it's going to be those three just running the ball, and they're going to split it up like they always do. That's what they've always done. They like
but
to just
as
split it
someone
up for
that's
some
going to
reason.
try to own Lat Murray again, he needs to make sure he gets the
He's going to get
playbook.
touchdowns. Lat's going to get touchdowns. I predict he'll have 10 touchdowns by the end of the year,
Okay,
minimum.
all right, I'll take that.
So, yeah, I could take that too for sure.
Marquise Brown, welcome back, Hollywood.
Hollywood's back with a touchdown. Yep.
Man, we've been waiting for that for 2 years. Hopefully he didn't get Sammy Watkins though, where he just balls out the first game and then
That's
just
what Sammy does.
fades.
First game every year, and then he either gets hurt or
Fades away.
he does nothing. Yeah. He forgets to play, forgets to put on his uniform every game or something.
Lamar,
Lamar,
that was a hell of a game. 27-33 in overtime, which, what happened? The Raiders thought they won the game on a touchdown that was
yep,
actually ruled down at like the foot line.
yep,
And so they had to clear the field, pull everyone back, and then they got stuffed on the first play on 1st and goal.
yep.
Then
Quarterback sneak.
that
Yep,
poor rookie lineman false started and gave him 5 yards back. So then you got 2nd and 6 and balls tipped. And what happens? It gets picked in the end zone. Oh my
yep.
God. Devastating. I was like internally laughing and maybe a little externally as well at just the travesty that would have ensued. But then you got Fumble Jackson doing shit you don't think he oughta, and fumbled like in his own territory, and
Yep.
just gave the game away.
Pretty much.
Crazy.
It was pretty much the Raiders could have just kicked it. Then the Raiders tried to kick a field goal to win the game, and they couldn't get their field goal team on the field because they weren't ready. They were over there at the practice net, so they had to take a delay of game penalty. So then they didn't want to kick a 50-yarder, so they got to let's run another play, and then they threw a touchdown. The Ravens did a zero blitz
blown
and
coverage, blown coverage.
just
wide
threw
open.
everybody out. Two guys ran into each other too, and Zay Jones is just wide open by himself, and that was the easiest touchdown he's ever going to score.
Yeah, that's his long 31 or two for 46 and a touch. But
Yeah.
man, that was one hell of a game. That was fun to watch. Unfortunately, my Ravens that I picked to win by a lot, very confidence high,
Yep.
lost.
Raiders
But
won their first home game
Oh yeah, in the new
Their
stadium.
new
That's right,
stadium. Yep,
Las Vegas with fans.
with fans. There you go. Yep, makes a
Um,
difference for sure. So
so let's
it was
take a
definitely an
look.
upset. Definitely an upset surprise there. So all
So
right,
what we got on
well,
the slate this week? We got
that was a heck of a
Thursday
recap.
night football. The Giants versus the Reds. Oh, can't say that anymore. The
No, versus
Washington
Washington. Let's run through
Potatoes.
these real quick here.
um,
That's Washington's favored by 3.5. That's the way I see it too. I think even without with Heineke
Fitz
in there, that's the
Magic.
way I see it. At home, I see Washington pulling that one out.
Well, they're thinking. Oh, the last time that they met, the Giants won by 3. So they're doing a flippy floppy.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll take Washington on that one.
Yep.
Next game we got the New Orleans and Carolina. Ooh, I think the Carolina looked good against a piss poor team, but they ain't going to beat the Saints. So I'm gonna take them
Where's
first
it? It's
team.
at home.
They're at
New Orleans favored by
Carolina.
3.5. Yep. Um,
See, I'm
it's
not
at
even looking at
Carolina.
spreads on
I'm
my
at.
end.
You're not looking at spreads.
No, maybe I need to go to a
I'm just looking
different
at the who's favored is all. I'm not really at the points. I'm just looking to see who's favored.
schedule. Week 2.
I kind of like this one as a take the Panthers. I kind of like them for some reason on this one.
No, this one doesn't show favorites either.
I just pulled up the next week on that schedule for the ESPN schedule. I just went to week 2.
I did. I'm not seeing the. Are you looking at each individual team or game?
Mm,
It just says tickets as low as. Anyway, I don't need to take so much time out, but
that's okay. Because I had the next one game that came up. I don't. I see. The Bengals and Bears. Actually, the Cowboys came up next. But what's the next game you have showing?
New York, Washington, Cincinnati, Chicago.
Yep, Cincinnati, Chicago.
I'm gonna go.
Take the Bengals on this
Yep,
one. I think too.
yep. Like I said, a revenge game is going to
Yep,
go south,
yep,
and welcome to the world, Justin Fields.
yep.
Game week 3.
I like the Bengals in this one too. Then you
Um,
got your Texans at the
Houston. Yep.
Browns.
Oh well, I
This is
mean,
in
come on,
Cleveland.
come
Yeah,
on.
this is a no-brainer. I think, unfortunately for you.
Unfortunately, yep.
Yep, gotta
Browns
go with the
all day,
Browns
every
there.
day.
They're gonna come out of
And
there pissed after losing to the Chiefs.
yep, and run all over them.
Yep.
Rams, same thing.
Rams
Gonna
at
run over
Colts.
Colts. Yep.
Yeah, I think so. I think the Colts can't store with them. I think their Rams will do it to them. Yep.
Buffalo, Miami. Miami's gonna be high on a mediocre game with the Patriots. Their
Yep.
nemesis.
And the Bills are gonna be coming off kind of pissed off.
And pissed off and be charging like their logo
In Buffalo.
does.
No, sorry, it's in
It's at
Florida.
Miami. Yeah, it's in Miami.
I still like Buffalo here though.
Yep. Agreed. And then you got the news, England and York.
Yeah, Patriots all day here
Yep. They're gonna
versus
put
the
a
rookie. Yeah, Belichick's gonna have something. Gonna confuse that rookie for sure.
another rookie.
He doesn't lose to
game.
rookie quarterbacks. I think there's some stat on that or something like that.
There's got to be. Yeah, we'll have to look at some of those.
This is an interesting one. 49ers at Eagles.
I think Philadelphia put up a good stat line and everything, but they were also playing the Falcons, whereas the 49ers, I mean, they were playing
They were playing
Lions,
the weak team.
so.
They were playing two of the worst teams both teams did last week.
Yeah, and you were saying with Verrett out in San Francisco, that backfield, or not the backfield, but the corners.
The corners, yep.
Man.
I don't know. It's a toss up here. I'm not
I'm
an
leaning-
Eagles. I don't like the Eagles, but I don't know. It's a coin flip to me.
Are we going to bet on this one? I'm going to go full on San Francisco.
I think I'm leaning that way. I was leaning San Francisco.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that one.
This one might be a little interesting. I know Las Vegas just pulled off an upset, but do you think they're going to be running on that high some more, or maybe they're gassed
Pittsburgh.
out?
I think I see that's what it is. They're going to come off that high, and Pittsburgh's going to take it to them.
Okay, I'm down with that. And then we already talked about the Carolina and Saints, which the Saints are, no brainer.
I like the Panthers in this. That's my upset of the.
That's your upset.
I think the Saints are going to come off way too high off that big win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's just my thought. So.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep that one in mind.
Okay. Broncos and Jaguars. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Broncos pretty easy in that one.
I think Denver's going to make Urban Meyer want to just roll into a ball and hide somewhere. Now this one might be interesting too. Minnesota and Arizona. I know Arizona put up a really strong performance,
Yep.
and Minnesota not so much. But this might be one of
Mm.
those that sneak up on you.
I
I'm going to go with
think I like
Arizona,
Arizona too. Yeah, I like Arizona.
but I think that's going to be a lot closer than people think.
I think it'll be a 3-point game. It won't cover the spread. I think it'll be closer than the spread. The
What
spread's
is what
four
do you
and a
see as the
half.
spread on that one?
4.5.
Okay,
Arizona.
yeah. Atlanta, Tampa.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Tampa all the
Yep.
way.
Yep.
12 and a
TB
half.
TB Tom Brady.
Yep.
Okay, I think we're going to disagree on this one. I'm going to have to go Chargers against the Cowboys.
That's not my next game.
I don't know what the spread is. I think they got the.
It's 3 points. Favored Chargers are favored by 3.
Oh, the Chargers are favored. Ooh, man, that's not good. I don't like being favored.
Yeah, so I'm kind of Cowboys started out with 2 tough games on the road.
Yeah,
I got to go with my boys on this one. I think they're going to come back and pull this one out.
going all the way clear across country, but again, that's more closer to where y'all practice. So
Yeah, they're not. There's nothing unfamiliar there. It's in the LA area, so
tell you what, though,
I
man.
think they'll pull
Anytime that
that
I
one
bet on Dallas, they lose. Anytime I bet
lose.
against Dallas, they win. So
You stay away from them.
yeah. With a 10-foot pole. All right, Tennessee and Seattle. Seattle still doesn't have a defense, but I'm gonna go Seattle.
I'm going Seattle. Yeah, Seattle at home, 100%.
Oh man,
They're
Tennessee,
favored by
I have a
5.5.
feeling though that Tennessee can run the ball on them, and that's going to be their bread and butter. So that might be one to watch too.
The Seahawks just always start off on fire. I think they're going to continue.
Russell Wilson, he starts fizzling out in week 6 to 7 after
Yes.
a bye week or something.
Yep. Here's the game of the week.
Oh my gosh! See, I was leaning Baltimore, but I think talking through all these games, I think I got to roll with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Chiefs. It's in Baltimore, but I'm rolling with the Chiefs here on this. I just think even though the Ravens will be pissed off they lost that game, I think the Chiefs are the Chiefs are clicking. They start off to a slow start, but once they get clicking, I don't think Baltimore can stay with them.
Sticking. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I like it. Let's do Kansas City on that one. And then Monday night.
I think poor Lions. I think even though Aaron was disinterested the other game, I think he's going to come back and have a big game this coming week.
He's at home.
Yeah. Lowly Lions. I mean, I think it'll actually be a closer game than what people think, but I think it'll still be like 31-20 or something like that. It'll be close for a little bit, but
I have a feeling that they're going to basically flop the score from the Saints game onto the Lions.
You think so? 38-3.
I think it's going to be a blowout.
We'll see. They'll still win pretty handily, though.
You know, speaking of Monday Night Football, what I did miss, however, and I wish I didn't, is I guess they're doing these Manning casts.
Oh, that was fun to watch for a little bit. I only got to watch a few minutes of it, but it was pretty fun.
And I guess it's on what, ESPN2?
ESPN2, yep.
You know, I when Romo first came out as a sportscaster, I hated him as a quarterback because he was good.
Yeah.
But whenever he was doing the announcing and the sportcasting, that dude, like, amazing job. Like, he was my favorite sportcaster, knowing all
he
the
makes
plays.
it fun, like a fan. He talks like a fan, and he knows what's going on. And that's what Peyton was doing last night. Some of the stuff he was doing.
That's what I heard, man. Like both of them just talking back and forth. There was nothing about like, oh, this guy's awesome, and like, you know, fluffing some other dude up. And
no, it was all about it.
It was just talking football. Like, this play is happening, this is going to happen, and sure as shit did.
Like, it's like Romo always said, well, look at that. This guy's over there, and it's gonna go that way. He sees it, 3 seconds before it happens. It's fun to watch. Yep.
They need to make sure they do. I think they're only doing 10 games or whatever.
Something like that. Yep.
They need to make it happen. So.
There's one thing I'll say. I forgot about this, and I just happened to see it about the Saints and Panthers. Did you see all those 6 coaches from the Saints had positive COVID tests?
Like yesterday?
Today.
Oh no!
So who knows how that'll affect things?
Oh no! So that might end up being a forfeit.
Well, they're coaches,
right? But if the
Yeah,
coach, they have the most, touches on all the people, on
that's
all the
true.
on the
A
teammates.
train. It was their one of their trainers and one player.
This is something to keep an eye on,
It
folks.
is.
Oh
It
my
is.
gosh.
Yep.
Okay. Okay.
So we'll
Mark
see.
that down in the books.
I'm
Our,
sure they're
that
doing a
might be our
lot of social
first
distancing there in New
in
Orleans.
Nolans. Yeah, well, we don't have any homes there.
Nope.
Whole
Oh man,
hurricane, but yeah,
that's rough.
that's gonna be maybe our first COVID game of the season. Forfeiture.
We'll
We'll
see.
see. Keep an eye on that one. But all right, well, Mr. A-Mart signing off, man. Thanks for joining. Thanks guys for joining too at home. Come back around. Probably do this again next week, Tuesday. Have this out on the media, on the YouTubes. Probably within the hour, maybe Wednesday morning when it gets released. But yeah, this is fun, and let's do it again, shall we?
Yeah, for sure. Good times.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Well,
Johnny.
toodles from Noodles. Y'all take care. Keep it real.